In this video, I'll show the steps involved when we perform division with fractions. All right. Step one is to change the division sign into a multiply sign. So we change division into a multiplication operation. Second thing, we flip the second fraction, and that's the fraction on the right. And then we simplify and then multiply. Now, I'll go through these examples, and pretty soon it should make sense to you. All right, so with our first one, question 2, and that's from the worksheet itself, I have a half divided by a quarter. Now, that's the same as saying that I have a half of a pizza, and I ask myself, how many quarters of a pizza go into half a pizza? Now, you notice 2 quarters should go into a half. And so instinctively, you know the answer to be equal to 2. Now, what the steps I've spoken about earlier on, that's to simplify the division for you. It means you don't have to think in using diagrams of fractions. Right? Using these steps, you can actually get the same answer. So the first step is to change the divide into a times operation. All right, the first fraction stays as it is, it doesn't change, but you will flip the second fraction to change that into its reciprocal. All right, so that is 4 over 1. All right, so I just want to highlight here that 4 over 1 is the reciprocal of 1 over 4. Okay, so you change the fraction on the right into its reciprocal. Now, once you have that, all right, the rest is quite straightforward. So when you multiply half and 4 over 1, you get 1. Okay, sorry, before I do that, you should actually perform a simplification first. So you can see over here that 4 and 2 are a pair of, are a numerator and denominator pair that have a common factor. Both of them can be divided by 2. So if I divide 2 by 2, I get 1. If I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. So I end up with 1 times 2 over 1 times 1, which gives me 2 over 1, which is the same as 2. So this matches up with our understanding of what it means by how many quarters go into half. Okay, so 3A will show you why the steps make it a lot easier, because you can see with 2/3 divided by 5 over 6, we are asking literally how much of how many 5 over 6s go into 2/3. Now you can draw diagrams to visualize that, but it can get quite complicated. So using the steps, we can simplify this. So again, we change the division sign into a times. And then the first fraction on the left stays as it is, whereas the 5 over 6 is changed into its reciprocal, so that's the same as saying 6 over 5. Again, I'm just going to highlight this 6 over 5. That is what we call the reciprocal. Reciprocal of 5 over 6. So now we can actually perform some simplifications over here. You'll notice that 3, all right, and 6 can both be divided by 3. So if I divide 3 by 3, I get 1. If I divide 6 by 3, I should get 2. So I end up with 2 times of 2 over 1 times of 5, which gives me 4 over 5. Now what this means is that 4/5 of 5 over 6 is 2/3. That's what it means. Now let's go to question 9. So this time around we have a whole number divided by a quarter. So to visualize this, All right, just imagine then you have 2 whole pieces. We're asking how many quarters go into 2 wholes. So if you divide each of these into quarters, you realize that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 quarters go into 2. So the answer should logically be 2. All right. Now, what I can now show is again using the ideas that we have, using the steps that we have talked about earlier on. What we have would be 2 being the same as 2 over 1. The divide is changed into times, and 1/4 has been changed into its reciprocal, which is 4 over 1. So you realize that this time I have 2 times 4 over 1 times 1, and then it gives me 8 over 1, which is the same as 8. So that matches up with the answer that I have. Okay, so here's the rules. If you have whole numbers, all right, they can be changed into a fraction by placing that number over 1. All right, let's take a look at our final example. Now, if there are mixed numerals, you can change them you should change them into improper fractions first before dividing. So I have 3 1/5 divided by 1/10. Okay, so 3 1/5, all right, that's the same as saying 3 times of 5 over 5. 3 is the same as 5 over 5 plus 5 over 5 plus 5 over 5, okay, plus 1 over 5. Okay, so 3 1/5 is this. All right, so therefore that should become 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 1 gives me 16. 16 over 5. All right, and then now we don't have to change anything. We don't have to change the first fraction. We just need to change the divide sign into times, and we need to flip the second fraction to change it into its reciprocal. So I have 10 over 1. So again, you can see here that I can perform some simplification first. That is, I can take the 5 out. I can divide 5 by 5, giving me 1. I can divide 10 by 5, giving me 2. So I end up with 32. 16 times 2 over 1 times 1. And that should give me eventually 32.